All right, guys, I'm shooting this one again. The first one was just entirely too long, and I left out a couple things important that I really wanted to get across to you guys. But we're going to talk about um, basically where's the line at. The biggest question I get every week, multiple people ask me every week, Discord messages and things like that. What's the line? Like how are your qualifying times so much faster than mine are if we're in the same lobby, or um, you know what is what are you doing different basically? I'm keeping the car straight and you're still like 3 4 tenths faster than I am. What did I do wrong, etc. So everybody kind of has that question of, where's the line, like where are you running on the track when it looks like this? And um, the answer is always different. It depends, really depends on the track and the track state. So I want to give a great example here of Charlotte. Unfortunately, it doesn't have our qualifying. It didn't save all the way back that far for some reason, but this is a few weeks ago. I think this was like week 13 or week 12 or something of the regular official season, where me, Zane, and Richie were all running in a race together at Charlotte in the official 360s. And so I want to show you Richie's heat race here. This is heat race 2, and this is much more likely to be the track state you're going to get in a official race anyway. So I think this is a good judge of where the track will be pretty much for wherever you're at. There wasn't very many cars in this race, so the practice lobby, we didn't really run that many laps, and a lot of guys just stayed off the track, and it was like really really fresh, starting like probably 50%. I don't even know of what it started at. So right here in heat race 2 is when the tracks finally started to come in to where you're more than likely to see where it'll be for qualifying in a majority of the races that you're going to be in. And I think this is a track state people struggle on too, because of the uniqueness of the entry to the corners. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. I'm going to run through this lap and just let it play and show you the slick lines on each corner. Obviously here you get a good lane of moisture here for the right side tires, but the slick is pretty much right through the middle high line on both sides here. So it's always important to keep your right sides in the moisture on a track like this if you're qualifying. Now, the other most, I don't want to forget this because I forgot this in the first recording of this. So the most important thing is you got to go out and you can run, one hot lap as your warm up lap before the green comes out, and then shoot for that lap to be your time. But just know, especially in a situation like this where 3 and 4 is like a slider line for the fastest lap around the track, you're gonna be really really slow to start finish line going into 1 and 2 again for your second lap. So if you mess up on the first lap, you don't really have a shot at it again on the second lap. So I like to run my out lap and then take the green and then run around the top, have all my momentum up through the top on 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then have as much straightaway speed as I can coming to the line with that white flag out and qualifying, and then I'll run. I'm shooting for my fastest time. So basically here, if this was me and this was my first qualifying lap, I'd be like way out here in the marbles and getting as much speed as I can out of the corner. Like I'm talking out here. I'm looking for as much straightaway speed as I can, getting it pointed where I want to go. Rich is in heat race here, so obviously he's following the fastest line around the track. But so coming into 1 and 2, track like this, it's all about keeping your momentum up for 3 and 4. So 1 and 2, you want to keep your momentum up, and then you're shooting for basically the marbles, wherever the marbles lie. So here they're pretty high up. I mean, they're a lane off the wall basically. Richie does a good job on this lap, hitting them pretty much perfectly right where you want to be. Now here's where in qualifying it's a little bit different. He doesn't do it here because he's in a heat race, and I think he's just testing out lines here. So in qualifying, he's 100% going to cut down here through this line here instead of entering where he does right here. You never want to be in the slick at all when you're qualifying. Nothing like this is ever going to be fast for you. So you're always looking for moisture. So right about the Charlotte line, where you see this slick forming at the edge of the this is kind of the edge of the logo, but in between the logo and like this, there's a little slick spot here. You want to turn the car down there, like right at the edge of the logo before you get here, so your right sides aren't in it. So when you're qualifying, you're shooting for this line here, coming in as straight as you can to get straight all the way out to the marbles on the exit of 4. So we're following my mouse here because Richie doesn't really do it on this lap, and I couldn't find a lap in the heat race where he did do it. So I'm going to walk you guys through this. So you're here. You can cut this corner a little bit later through the slick. You can kind of even turn down here if you're trying to get a really, really deep slider. Just depends on where you want to risk the time. On a state like this, it would have been okay to turn the car in later and get really, really deep on the exit and cut a bunch of the corner off. But for that's kind of rare. This is usually a little bit slicker than that. So you always want to stay as low as you can underneath it. And in Charlotte, you can really turn the car pretty hard when there's moisture down here, so you don't have to worry about, being too tight or being too straight and washing all the way out to the wall. So basically, you're cutting in here, and you're kind of following the corner a little bit, not getting the car too sideways. You want to stay straight so you're not bogging the engine down, obviously. Kind of think of a 305 where straight is always faster, and 360 is kind of the same thing. The engines like to bog down a little bit, so you're aiming for down here. There's still so much moisture here. As you can see this play out, there's a little bit of slick here. You can see it kind of start to glow on the lights there, and there's some right here and right here. So this isn't bad at all. Like, you could hit that no problem, drive right over it probably, even where your tires don't even hit it, and then get back out before you get to this spot, because you don't want to be exiting the corner right here in the slick with your right side tire. So you're cutting through here, and right when you get here, you got to make sure your right sides are on the outside of this already in the marbles, through here up to the top, and then you've got as much grip as possible. Because if you get your right sides in this, you're gonna get a little bit you're gonna sideways and scrub a tenth or two off. So always, when the track state looks like this, Charlotte, Knoxville, USA kind of does this a lot too. It's more of the half mile. It's not the quarter miles, but everything above, 3/8, half miles, things like that. Charlotte 4/10 or whatever. So these tracks like to do this a lot, where the corners are really, really wide, but that slick line develops really high up early on instead of in the bottom. So, excuse me. So you're going to see a lot of people enter out here and be like, man, I stayed in the moisture. Like, I followed the marbles. How was I 3/4 slower? Well, yeah, I mean, you're keeping the car straight. You're in the marbles. All that's good and well. But when you're qualifying, you're shooting for the best lap, period. That can be a really weird line sometimes. Especially places like Charlotte and Eldora, they love the slider line when the track gets like this. You go to Eldora right now and you run an official race or whatever it might be, this exact patch will form here, and the exact patch will form in 1 and 2 as well. That's just how it is. It's all about keeping your momentum up in 1 and 2, and then really cutting as much of the corner off in 3 and 4 as you can with that big deep slider line when there's moisture here in the middle. So when there's this 2-3 lanes of moisture here, you can cut underneath all this and shave time off and hit the marbles on your exit and be good to go. Set quick time and start the race, and not have to worry about what's going on behind you. Richie drives through it here. Not 100% sure why. Maybe he was just, he was out front. He's just cruising, not trying to do anything crazy. But yeah, I'd be down here, and I'd be shooting all the way for out here as my exit point. Making sure my right sides don't get caught up in this slick, and then basically you're home free from there. Again, that's something I do on the second lap because I want to build up as much speed as I can through those first 2 laps on the hot lap, and then the first lap of your qualifying, and then really have as much speed coming out of 4 as you can for that lap you're looking to set a time. Now I'm going to go to the feature because we did run that line a little bit in the feature. You'll see here I started third. Zane was quick time. Richie was second. Me third. So we finished our heat races that way too. So you could see Zane and Richie cutting the part of the corner off still. Even then, like, we could have still entered a lot lower. This is me just being patient. I talk to you guys all the time. If you've seen the videos, when you're messaging me in Discord, like, what can I do different? And I preach patience, like it's, to me, it's the most important thing, especially in situations like this where the race just started. There's no real point to be trying to cut way down here where I would try to, I think the line is still pretty good through there, at least through here. I mean, there's still a lot of moisture right here where I could catch it and be good. But the guys in front of me are entering in the slick, the slicker part of the track, and then kind of sliding out to the top. So that line really isn't available. Otherwise, I'm going to slide straight up into them and wreck all of us. So um, you'll see in 1 and 2, pretty much the whole feature, I'm catching them. My car was really, really good on the top, so I shave all the time I lose in 3 and 4. I shave it off in 1 and 2, and then I just kind of cruise. I know my car is fast enough to be there when I need to be. I can tell because I'm fast in 1 and 2. I'm gaining time, and then I just scrub it off in 3 and 4. Like I don't want to be this close to them this early. We're just cruising for now. We're being patient. We're just trying to see what the car has on the top in 1 and 2 because I know Charlotte loves the top in 1 and 2 for almost the whole race. I say almost because here in a little bit I'm going to show you what I did about halfway through to get the win in this race. So we get a caution halfway, and I mentioned to Richie and Zane because we're all in Discord together. Caution comes out here. Yeah, car's wrecked, big time wrecked. So the caution comes out, and then we got another one like right away, and on the very first lap, like after green, I think it went yellow again. So yeah. So when we're pacing, I always look for, okay, what's coming? Where's the line going? Because you do this long enough on iRacing, the dirt track stuff is very, very similar every time out. You guys will start to notice that more and more as you race laps on all these tracks. Like Charlotte, it's going to get slick around the top, and then the bottom and middle will come in, and then it'll get slick. It slicks off later in 3 and 4 around the top than it does in 1 and 2. So the top stays a little bit more dominant in 3 and 4 for a while, and then the bottom will start to come in with the middle and stuff like that. So all that is very track specific. The way Knoxville burns in is pretty much the same every time. The way Limaland burns in, pretty much the same way every time. So if you guys can get in your brain the memory and memorize the way these tracks are burning in when you're out there racing them, that's gonna put you above and beyond the people in your splits. They aren't even thinking about that. I can guarantee you, they're thinking about just trying not to wreck, trying to keep the car straight. They're driving through the middle, and they're like, "Man, my car's straight. What's going on? These guys are flying around me on the top," or all of a sudden now they're flying around me underneath the bottom. Like, so their mindset is survival and SR and all that stuff. That's when you can really start to gain I rating on people, when you start to know how the tracks are going to be basically blowing off and getting dry and stuff like that. And then you'll know where to go, when to go there, and you'll start making passes. So we're under caution here. And I'm just looking around. I told these guys in Discord, I was like, hey, this middle or bottom's kind of looking pretty good here in 1 and 2. And they laughed. And they said, yeah, you go ahead and go down there and you let us know how it goes. But look at this. I mean, I've got almost the whole track here is pretty wet compared to right here in this slick line. That's a lot tougher to run than this line is. So eventually I do go in there and test it. After a while, it took me another 8 laps or so to really want to go down there and try it. Number one, I didn't want to give it away to the people behind me. And then number two, I was still, I'm just running the line with these guys, and they start getting pretty racy. So I figured, all right, I'll just keep biding my time. You don't have to lead 30 laps. You can lead 1 lap and win a race. So that's always my mindset. So we go green again, back to the top for probably pretty much all of us 3 at least for sure. And then here, Zane's still running the slider line. I know it's still pretty good. It's still pretty fast. He's got a great run on the exit of 4. You can see how deep he goes and cuts the corner and gets out of it above the slick as fast as he can. He entered in the slick, yeah, but that's probably the safest way right now. You could probably go down here and enter a little bit, a car width lower and then slide out there. He just didn't. He hit that moisture patch instead right there and then got his car out of it. Just trying different things here. I mean, he's in the lead. He's got to try and see what he can do to keep gaining time on us. So me and Richie here just running the top. All about momentum now. I mean, there's 14 laps to go, so 13, 14 laps. Me and Richie are just, we're biding our time, just trying to stay as close to the leader as we can and wait for a mistake. In my situation, it's even better for me because I know if I'm keeping up with second place and he's keeping up with third or first place, we've all got a pretty good shot at this being a hell of a race at the finish line here. So fast forward a little bit to where Richie throws a slider here, lap 20 or 21 or something like that, and he gets a good run out of 4 on. God, what lap is it? Here it is. Okay. So pretty good run here in 3 and 4. He's way out there on the Marwa, so he's getting as much speed as he can, and he's right on Zane now, and he ducks low for the slider, and I'm just gonna keep doing what I was doing. I know he's gonna clear that. He's got the speed, he's got the angle, he's got everything he needs to clear that, but I know it's probably gonna slow Zane down, so I'm gonna be right where I want to be here in a lap or two. So Richie gets slowed down a pretty good amount too. Zane throws a slider back, and then we kind of just wait. This to me is when you see 2 sliders from first and second on the same lap like that, and you're in third and you're this close. You've got to let those guys almost do their thing because somebody's going to make a mistake or they're going to slow each other down. In this situation, they slowed each other down, and now you're in third and you're primed to pounce because you've kept your momentum up the whole time, every lap, and I'm right there on his bumper basically. So big sliders from both of them. Slider line from Zane and Richie. I think Zane was trying to just protect this line, but Richie went about as low gets, clears him, and then again, I excuse me. I'm running the top, and I've got all the momentum in the world now. I've just got to hope at this point that somebody doesn't, pull up in front of me and block me or, something like that. Luckily for me, Zane wanted to try and cut back under Richie, and it's hard to do that on a slider when you just ran a slider line yourself. So he loses momentum. He's in the middle of the track now, kind of in no man's land, and I'm out here on the top with Richie. Now, Zane has one of 2 options here. He could probably throw another slider and try to retake the lead and slow us both down. I for sure have a pretty good momentum. I'm going 113. They're going 105 and 106. So he can try to throw the slider again here in 3 and 4, or he can do what he did, and that's run the bottom. He goes down here to test the bottom, see if there's anything there. There's not, so he slides out. Okay. He gets his car pretty close to this isn't the lap I was thinking of, actually. He does throw a slider here. So he throws another slider and slows Richie down a bit, having to cut underneath. I'm running the top. Again, I'm just hanging on, just waiting. Richie's going to go back down to the bottom, throw a slider. And I figure this is probably my chance to really get something because earlier I had said, okay, the middle's got to come in. Like it looks too good to not be there. So Richie dives low, and Zane, I'm thinking, well, he just kind of ran that block slider line previously. I'm thinking he's going to do it again, but he didn't. You see me get way out of the gas because he's right in front of me and he stays on the top. I'm all the way out of the gas here. I'm thinking, okay, maybe this is my chance. Like I don't want to run into the back of him. Let's go see what the middle has. So I get way out of the gas to get the car as slow as I can, and find a little bit in the middle. I would have liked to probably be a little bit higher, a little bit lower, but I'm kind of here in the slick because I wasn't really sure what the leader was doing there on the entry, and that's okay because Charlotte, again, not many laps have been run down here, so there's still good moisture. I'm still going to be able to carry a lot of straightaway speed out because I did cut in so late, basically. I caught the moisture there on the entry right through here, and whoa. What's going on? Something messing up. Or freezing, I think. Uh-oh. Hang on. Let me load this back up. We might have to load it back up. But anyway, so I cut down late, and that means I'm going to have probably a good amount of speed that I want on the exit of 2. Are they doing an update or something right now? What's going on? Oh, there it goes. Hopefully this doesn't make me take even longer. Um, but you'll see I pull even with them on the exit of 2. So that was my indicator that said, "Oh, okay, the middle's there finally. Let's go." So the middle's there in 1 and 2. I know I want to keep the lead in 3 and 4. So I've got to throw a slider. I mean, I was dead even with these guys coming out of the corner. So as soon as this slows back up, I'll show you. But kind of a weird little glitch there for some reason. Let's go back to lap. What was that? Lap 24. Let me pull this in a bit and zoom in for us. Apologies for the technical difficulties. Also, I don't really edit these videos, so anyhow. So I cut low through the middle, and you'll see me get basically car outside, dead even with Richie going in 3 and 4. So I'm gonna throw the slider here and get up in front of him as fast as I can. And now I really just want to run the middle again. You know, there's cars side by side behind me, but I'm the leader. Like it's my choice going into the corner. The guys behind got to protect you and stuff. They can't just go run into the back of you and stuff like that. So you are the leader going into the corner. Plenty of momentum here. I'm not gonna like park it on anybody's nose. Obviously, if I want to run the middle. So I go down here again. I get a little car inside call, I think, and that worried me a little bit. So I did slide up, and but I still tried to stay in as much moisture as I could, catching all this. A little bit of slick there on the exit, but I still have a pretty good run down the backstretch. Figured I got to get my momentum back up because I just slowed myself so much, you know, in 1 and 2 that I got to get my momentum belt back up. So Zane, this is where he could throw another slider here. This was the lap I was talking about earlier. I'm thinking, oh, he's going to slide me again. I'll have to cut back under. Well, he tries to run like the bottom weird middle line. I think he just missed the bottom, basically. And Richie's got a huge run through the marbles here. And we'll show you this line, too, because this line does get pretty good here at Charlotte as well. When the track is black slick and you can see these marbles, you can cut in a little bit late, get onto these marbles, and drive full throttle off the corner. And that's basically what Richie's doing here. So we're 3 wide on the exit of the corner. Well, I get to the line first again, so now I'm thinking, okay, I'm still in the lead. I still got my momentum up from running the top. Plenty of speed. I can go wherever I want to go in front of these guys. I found my middle. I'm clear. I can do what I want now on 3 and 4. I like this little short slider line still. And again, now it's just about hitting your marks into 1 and 2, hitting your marks into 3 and 4, and really pulling away with this thing. All these marbles on the exit of 2, I'm hitting those every time, getting plenty of drive off the corner. 3 and 4 again, and they're just falling farther and farther behind me. Now, something I like to do at Charlotte that not a lot of people like to do. I run a pretty short gear at Charlotte. You know, I know it's for 2/5 of a mile, whatever you want to call it. I like a really short gear. Now, there's people who are like, how in the world are you running that short of a gear on a track that gets slick? How are you wide open in the slick like that? I've got a setup, you know, that I've built to maintain balance in the car and things like that, so I'm not sliding all over the place. Basically, that baseline setup, just a little bit taller in the rear end because Charlotte gets so bumpy in the on the top that I like my rear end a little bit stiffer. That way, it's not dragging on the cushion. So, yeah, I can't show you here, unfortunately. So, but it's like, I think the bars are at 1,000, and I'm no lower than -1.5 on the turns or something like that. So, I got the rear end much higher than I, you know, usually like it. It's probably even -1 turns, I think. So, Charlotte though, you know, it gets pretty bumpy, and I know that. So I've tried to build things to accommodate for that. So I run a 567 gear at Charlotte. Now you're gonna hear people say like, "Oh, go 549, 555, maybe even 560," but I like the 567. You know, the slider line in 3 and 4 is so dominant for most of the race, and you know, I like to have the RPMs, you know, coming off the corner. So when you run a slider line, obviously you're gonna bog the engine a little bit. So it's important to have the RPMs that you need, and you get that with the 567 gear. You know, again, you're going to get wheel spin and stuff like that if you're not controlling the throttle when you need to be. Look at all these marbles here in 1 and 2 for me to just go out and hit it pretty good there. A little bit high on the exit, but still fine. I got a pretty good gap behind me. And yeah, I mean, again, it's just about this is the last lap here. So My main goal is, setting my car up for these last 5-10 laps when I know I'm gonna need it, and when I know it's gonna be faster than the guys around me. So, you know, 567's plenty of gear for the top. It's not screaming at you going into the corner. I mean, it does a little bit sometimes, but you still got plenty of top speed and stuff like that. But a place like Charlotte, where acceleration is so important, you can't go to the bottom if you're on a 542 or 549. Trust me, we tried it the other day in another race I'm going to upload later this week. We had a Charlotte a DSRL race where it was a league race and the fixed set was on a 549 and nobody ran the bottom. You just couldn't. There was no acceleration off the bottom of the corner, so the bottom never came in. It might have been a lot more moisture than the top had. Definitely was, because nobody was down there. But you go down there and you can't accelerate. You'll be full throttle, but the car, you have to slow the car down so much to run the bottom. You've got to have RPMs and acceleration from somewhere to get you back up off the corner, and the 549 just doesn't really have that here. So I go 567, and this thing eats, man. I mean, yeah, it's pretty loud, screaming at you sometimes early in the race when it's tacky and stuff, and the track hasn't really worn in yet. But I'm telling you, when the track is there late, man, it's a great gear. And I mean, look at my gap here. I've got a hell of a gap here with 2 to go, and that's the 567 gear. I found the middle, and I have the RPMs to get off the middle when I need to, in the slider line in 3 and 4. So, um, yeah, you guys, you wanted to know where the line was, and what I'm looking at when the race goes on. If there's cautions and stuff, look for the line. Don't be afraid to pull out a line like when you're under pacing, and don't do it when there's 1 to go. But pull out a line, kind of go down the bottom, look, see, okay, is anything here? Yeah, this dirt's a little bit lighter. Look through here in the middle, like, oh, there's a lot of marbles, or there's a lot of moisture. Look at all that moisture there with those marbles. I mean, that looks pretty much like it did earlier. So you can tell some people have started running the bottom. And as you can see, this lap car right here, he's running right through the slick. So he's throwing marbles up here for us, and he's not in the moisture wearing it in. So it's there. You can really find out a lot of stuff about the track when you're under caution, or when you're um, even when you're just under green. You can, if you're behind cars and stuff, go searching. You can't win the race just following everybody. I know I preach patience, and yeah, I'll follow guys for 20 laps or so, but when it's time to search, I've been doing this for a while, so I know what's where and when it's there and things like that. So don't be afraid to do that earlier than I like to do it. But you know, that's why it's important to run leagues and stuff. I always say that, I didn't learn to drive until I started doing leagues. So leagues have helped me out so much more than official racing ever did. And you guys already know I hate doing official races. So I mean, my I rating's like 4,500 or something like that, and it's been that way for 6 months. Because I'll do an official race maybe 3-4 times a month, and that's about it. But you'll get guys who do that 3-4 times in one day, or in 4 hours. So I prefer to spend my time ghosting races and practicing like that, and then going into leagues, and obviously running those in a little bit more, because the track gets really slick and technical, and it really shows off who can drive and who can't. And again, I mean, I tell you guys all the time, if you've got questions, just let me know. You can find me on Discord, or shoot me a message on iRacing if you don't have Discord, or whatever it is. And don't be afraid to let me know if you're struggling with something like this. Like I said, I get so many messages on Discord. Sometimes it's hard for me to catch up, but I always get back to everybody and let them know. But one of the biggest one is always, where's the line, like in qualifying in that situation. And hopefully this helped you guys out. I really wanted to try and get this out sooner, but I just got so busy the past couple of weeks. So I hope hope it's not too late. I know we got pro qualifiers coming up, so I don't know how much I'll be able to get out during all that, but there are only one race a week, so maybe I'll try and record and upload them. But I do have a couple more, another Charlotte race and an Eldora race that I want to upload for you guys. So I hope you enjoyed this one. Let me know if you guys have questions. As always, have fun. Good luck. Try not to wreck. If you wreck, just take a breath. Don't key up. It's all right. There's more races. So have fun, guys. Just that's all. That's what it's about. got questions again, just let me know. Thanks for watching, guys. We hit 100 subs the other day. That was pretty freaking cool. So thank you guys so much for that. And I will see you guys in the next one as soon as I can get it out. Don't want to promise any dates, but I'll try to make it soon, I promise. That's the promise I'll make. See you guys.